You are listening to Rouge Radio, a proud member of the Canadian Football Podcast Network.
It's time to get the point as Rouge Radio is ready to kick off.
Ready!
The best football talk with the best in the business.
So what is the cost? You have 2 first-round picks this year because the Argos were dumb enough to trade for Drew Willie.
A few rookies.
We go directly to the on-field product. We welcome to the show the 20th overall pick in this past Sunday's CFL draft, DeAndre Wright of the Alouettes. DeAndre, welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
And the occasional Hall of Famer.
Please welcome Doug Brown, who is one of the members of the current class of 2016 in the CFL Hall of Fame. Doug, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thank you guys for the kind words and for having me on the program.
Rouge Radio is on the air. Here's your hosts, Robert Dalton and Tony Allen.
We are back for another edition, and not only just another edition, it is the first regular season podcast of the Rouge Radio podcast, episode 556. This is powered by the Canadian Football Podcast Network. My name is Robert Dalton, and joining me, as always, Mr. Tony Allen. And our podcast is sponsored by the good people over at Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com. Tell them the guys at Rouge Radio sent you by entering the promo code Rouge. You get 20% off your order plus free worldwide shipping. Go to Manscaped. Your balls will thank you. There's something disturbing about me looking at a camera and just saying your balls will thank you. So if you're watching the video podcast of the version of this, you're looking at my eyes and I'm saying your balls will thank you. With some weird filters. We've got a great show. Obviously, this is week 1 preview of the 2026 regular season. But obviously, there's some bigger news that we could talk about. But first, Tony, how's everything?
Well, it's going fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Get to talk football tonight. Get to talk football about a new season underway. Lots going on in my geek world too. I'm a big mix of sports and geek. So watching a new series called Spider Noir. Nick Cage is a Spider-Man. Not the Spider-Man, but a Spider-Man in the 1930s. It's a very good show. I'm enjoying it a lot.
Speaking of shows, the wife and I started watching DTF St. Louis.
Okay.
It's a show on Crave, I believe. It is weird. Very weird. But
weird's good.
Somewhat provocative, I guess it is we'll just stick with weird. Weird is good. Here's a lesson of for people who were doing some video podcasting. Always pay attention, because I was looking at my phone, I looked up and Tony had the was that the Stranger?
That was Boba Fett.
Okay, Boba I don't know my Star Wars character, so
that's fine.
Yeah, you scared the heck out of me. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. I tried to have him in the side here, but he didn't really fit in the picture, so I wanted to have Boba Fett with me.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, so the CFL dropped some news last week. In fact, not only last week, but like the morning after our show. And we've become accustomed to the CFL dropping news, the day after. And recently they've been dropping news about rule changes, but this is a big deal. The CFL announced a new 6-year broadcasting deal starting in 2027. Majority of games will still be broadcasted on TSN. Some key partners, YouTube and DAZN. The DAZN partnership is huge because that is an increased $35 million revenue. And because it starts into 2027, I mean, we'll talk more about that, because I think this is a no-brainer that this is good for the league. I know some people are, they're a little bit upset, and I can understand that. It's another streaming subscription that people don't have the money for. I get it. But at the same time, one game a week, and it's a Saturday night. That's a time slot, which I'll go on my soapbox. I love the fact that they've not only did they add like 1 week on a specific network or a streaming platform, but it's a designated game. It's not like, okay, one game on a Friday, one game on a Sunday, and then they're kind of like, teetering in between games. This is a specific night of the CFL week on a specific, it's kind of like Friday Night Football, but it's Saturday night. It's specific to the zone. I love it. This is great for the league. In the NFL, I know that we don't want to be like the NFL, but I thought there was something missing with the CFL marketing when it comes to broadcasting, because we all love Friday Night Football. We've now come to love Thursday Night Football, but those games on Saturday afternoon and the odd one on Sunday, there's nothing different about them. I know this is kind of like yelling into the void, but I want to be excited to watch a game outside of the actual game itself. I want to see something innovative with the broadcast than anything, and we weren't getting it with TSN. It's like Thursday night, and they were like going all out, and then it just kind of went downhill for the rest of the week. I know I kind of went on my soapbox there. I told you I didn't want to. Your thoughts on the deal, because this is huge.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, this is the first move under the new commissioner that actually makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it actually serves a purpose. It's the only addition they've made that helps the league. Now, I don't like that those Saturday games are exclusively for the zone. I just because I'm not getting it, and so I'm not gonna see any of those Saturday games. Like, that's the only knock. I don't like that, but I'm not the entire Canadian Football League fan base. So I'm self-aware enough to know that despite that I won't see those Saturday night games, it's still the proper thing to do in advancing the CFL internationally. And we're never going to be an international game. Like, we're never going to have CFL games in Mexico or at Wembley Stadium in England. Like, that's not going to happen, but people around the world can still watch the football games. They can watch it in the US, and that's a good thing. You're not going to lose with that. And cash flow into the Canadian Football League is a good thing. I don't know if listeners of our show expected me to hate this as well, because I've hated everything else that's happened under our new commissioner, but this one makes it like a $500 million TV deal for CFL football. Like, that's amazing. That's great. I mean, it could drive up the salary cap, bigger salary caps. Bigger salary caps means you can attract bigger players from the National Football League. Maybe a fringe player, a middle of the road player that doesn't want to sit on a practice roster in the NFL will say, you know what, I can make this and start in Canada. And I don't care what anyone says, sitting as a backup and making that money isn't what football players want to do. They want to play. And now maybe you'll be able to, if the cap goes up, draw a player that might sit on a practice roster or make that same money and actually get to play football. So there's a lot of positives to it. You can dissect it to the point where you hate it, and there's going to be people that do that as well. And like I admitted, the zone thing, it's unfortunate that I'm going to miss all those Saturday games. I'm not a fan of it, but like I said, I understand how important it is to do something like that. And then finally, just to be associated with YouTube, it's never a loss. You don't lose that deal by having YouTube associated with your league. You just don't.
They are broadcasting the preseason games. I believe that's where their focal point is, which essentially says that CFL Plus is, for all intents and purposes, dead. Like what we know of as CFL Plus is no more. Now, granted, nobody's going to be watching. There's no CFL Plus anymore. I guess there's still CFL Plus for regular seasons for non-American. For non-CBS.
I didn't see anything that in the new agreement, but I don't know how it breaks down.
Yeah, I don't know how that works, but yeah, and whenever you can get in a partnership with an elite streaming platform like YouTube, it's good. There's nothing bad. What I love about
the only thing is YouTube announced that YouTube agreement has, you watch the preseason games with other features behind behind the scenes features or other featurettes. And I mean, we know how much people love mid-game interviews. I can't imagine how much they would love adding behind the scenes stuff to a broadcast. I mean, assuming it doesn't happen during the play, people aren't mentally strong enough to handle a mid-game interview. So they better watch out how they put those bonus features in, because people just don't have the mental capacity to follow a game and listen to an interview at the same time. So be wary about that.
Can you imagine now? I think that there's it's probably in deals like this, it's probably all included, but you can imagine streaming a live game on YouTube and you get an ad. Calero's back to pass, and then you go streaming into like some kind of like Swiffer wet jet ad.
Yeah.
Which is essentially what a mid-game interview happens. What I love about this, and I touched on it before, is the salary cap going up a little bit. We've had a lot of 2-year deals signed. This is great because you guys, I'll use Tommy Nealt for an example, who signed as a free agent with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. $200,000 deal. It's not a Canadian receiver, starting receiver. That's not bad. That's a bargain, maybe a little bit overpaid. But when he comes off that 2-year deal going into 2028, when the cap is expected to increase, if he's still in his prime, he's going to be chasing bank. There are 3-year deals that were signed this offseason. We just talked about Kenny Lawler last week. Brady Oliveira signed a 3-year deal with hard money in 2028. Guarantee you, those contracts, 300 plus or 300,000 plus contracts for that 1 year, is going to be peanuts in pale to comparison to what free agents are going to be getting on the free agent market going into that year. Guarantee it. And
Can you imagine a CFL where $1 million contracts are the norm?
I think mark it here. We are going to see $1 million contract for 2028. We will.
Doesn't matter who do you think gets it. That could be a whole episode debating who the first $1 million man will be since, Rocket Ishmael and
Trevor Harris.
Doug Flutie.
Trevor Harris.
You think so?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, no. Facetious, I see.
That's what I thought. I mean, I kind of want it to be, but it's no, I don't know. Any thoughts before we get into our preview?
No, I think that's great. Great way to open up. It's unfortunately we didn't do it. When it happened, the CFL's got to be more on the ball. Start thinking about podcasts when they make their announcements. But other than that, no. Like I said, it's the first thing that the league has done under this commissioner. Even if you think it's unfair that I blame the commissioner, they'll say it's the first thing the board of governors or the owners have done that actually made an iota of sense.
So for all intents and purposes, this is a whole bunch of Tony Allens after Stuart Johnson did that.
Well, let's not go over it. Yeah. I'm just saying it was a good move.
The first ever round of applause for Stuart Johnson.
There you go.
Let's go to week 1 preview of the 2026 season. The Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Toronto Argonauts and the BC Lions have a bye, which is this is the silliest part. Before we go in, we are partnered with the good people over at Sports Interaction. Go to SIA.com/Rouge. Your first deposit will be matched up to 100% if you haven't done so already. And of course, as always, Tony and I always say, please play and gamble responsibly. Set those limits, whether it's daily or weekly. Please don't need to get this out of hand. I was going to touch on it. There is in no way should we not have a Grey Cup rematch for week 1. Much less the fact that we have the Grey Cup champions on a bye. That is unforgivable. Unforgivable.
Yeah, it is unacceptable.
Yeah. We just came off just giving the league high praises, and then we just come down to it and be like, yeah, you're kind of a moron, aren't you? Whoever.
Yeah.
Week 1 starts on Thursday. The Montreal Alouettes are in Hamilton, and I'm surprised about these spreads here. We'll talk more about them as we get by. Montreal is favored by only 1.5. The over-under is set at 51.5. Hamilton's going to be without a plethora of linebackers, most notably Wynton McManus, their high-staked free agent acquisition from the Toronto Argonauts, will not be playing at least for this week. Montreal, healthy. They've got Tyson Philpott. They've got Cole Speaker, Tyler Snead. They've got Travis Thies, the star running back. Not a heck of a lot of turnover in Montreal. There is going to be that huge question mark at the safety position as they're trying to figure that out. But at the most point, I'm looking at Hamilton did a lot of MacGyvering with the roster. Before I get to my point, where do you see this game going, Tony?
The opposite of it, I shouldn't say the opposite. The down part of week number 1, I say this every year as well, and I don't mind saying it again. This is when all bets are off. This is Wild West time of the year. We don't know what these teams are. Nobody's played a serious game of football since, well, the most recent is November, and only one of those teams playing this week is playing. So it's like, it's hard to really take an intelligent guess at this, and I'm not an intelligent guy to start with. I'm going to take the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and I wish I had a whole great list of things to back this up, but I don't. It's the first game of the season, and nothing makes sense right now. I'm going to take right now. I want to bet on Bo Levi Mitchell and Kenny Lawler again to pick up where they left off last year. And because there's still some rust out there for both teams, I can see a high-scoring game as everyone tries to settle in, get ready for a brand new season. I'm going to take a high-scoring this one. So based on the numbers, this gives me the over on this one. I feel like taking the over on this one, 32-21 as the CFL season starts with a big bang in Hamilton.
Yeah, I feel this game has, a penchant for a high-scoring game. You look at the offensive weapons that, granted they lost, what's his name, Tim White, but they gained Carrick Wheatfall, and they still have Keandre White. They still have Kenny Lawler. Don't imagine that they would be utilizing that much of a running attack with the way that Bo Levi operates. What really gets me is that those points are probably going to be few and far between. It's going to be hard earned, and probably you're going to see some over the middle 20-yard passes, or you could see some dink and dunk offense here because this is. You're right. We don't know what to expect. You could probably see Bo Levi throw for 50-yard touchdown on the first snap, right? Just to see if he can do it with that question mark at the safety position. And then Davis Alexander, this is relatively the same team that went to the Grey Cup last year. So I mean, I want to give Hamilton the home field bump in this. I just can't. Sometimes logic says, you know what, go with your gut. I'm with you. I think that I think this has a penchant for Hamilton just jumping out to a huge lead by maybe the beginning of the fourth quarter, and then Montreal just doing Montreal things and coming back. I have Montreal winning 32-28 over the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Next game is in Calgary, your neck of the woods. I guess not your neck of the woods. It's close to where you are. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers in Calgary that play the Calgary Stampeders. Most notably in Calgary, it looks like that they are going to be without Reggie Begelton, but they had a huge shot in the arm with Jalen Hutchins coming back from the NFL opportunity. That is going to be a formidable defensive line in Calgary. Hicks or Malade, and as well as Hutchins. But what I found strange, Winnipeg is favored by 1.5 in this game. The over-under is at 48.50. There is, I wonder if this has all to do with the free agents or the players that left for the NFL from Calgary. Because you got Damian Alford. I think he's still wandering about. I didn't hear. I wasn't really following too much. Winnipeg. My only concern is that I think they're shaking things around in the secondary, and if you start doing that, with Vernon Adams Jr., it could light you up pretty quickly. This could be very similar to what their game was in about week 5 last year, when everybody was anticipating Winnipeg just going in and just throwing down, and it turned out to be the exact opposite. I think this is going to be a little bit closer than I think a lot of people are going to anticipate. But I think there's just too many moves for this team to gel in Winnipeg, and I think that massive front four in Calgary is just going to be a little bit too much for Winnipeg's offensive line to be able to handle. I also really did not particularly care for the running game in the preseason. I know it's preseason, but sometimes you expect a little bit more during the preseason in their running attack. Given how Calgary was very excellent against the run last year, I don't see how this is a game where Calgary loses this one. This might be definitely take Calgary to cover the spread. I don't like that over, but give me Calgary 23-19 over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Tony.
Yeah, I'm pretty close to you. I wasn't as nice to the Bombers as you were. I think this is, I won't say the beginning of the end of the Bombers, but I think this is the year they're going to have to figure out quarterbacking. I don't think Zach Collaros has another year in him. And I say that with all due respect and all the respect in the world to Zach Collaros. And in no way do I want to come across as any disrespect for Zach Collaros. I just think it's time for Winnipeg to move on. And I mean, unfortunately, I think we're going to find out the hard way. I think there's going to be a change in Winnipeg, and I think the Bombers are going to find that out the hard way. I don't know how well they're going to do this season. It was an up and down year last year. And I like Calgary more, not from a personal perspective, just as a talent wise and where they are. I'm going to give this one, opening one, 24-11. So not enough for, for the over. I felt that was too high to start with anyways at 48.5. I don't even know if either of the teams had the horses to get that high to take the over.
Pun intended there.
Yeah. Yeah. So 24-11. I'm going to give the win to the Calgary Stampeders at home on this one.
Over under for Calgary wins this year was set at 8.5. I think that seems wrong. Like, did they lose enough star players and did they not add enough to warrant a little bit of a steady, win total from what they had last year? I mean, it just seems wrong.
I think it does, but I also think it reflects the uncertainty of the West right now. Like, a hot team could really shift the balance in the West, but I genuinely think this could be, you win this weekend, or Bombers win this weekend, Stampeders win next weekend, but Lions win next weekend, but the Riders win that one. Like Calgary beats Winnipeg this week, but Winnipeg beats BC the week after, then BC beats Calgary, then BC beats Winnipeg, but then BC beats Calgary again. Obviously, that's not the schedule. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to make a point. So, no, I don't know, run down the schedule, but trying to make my point that I think this could be, I mean, all you need to do is get hot for a couple of weeks. You put together a three-week win streak, and I think you're going to distance yourself well in the West this year, with the exception of one team that I think will pull away and lead the West overall. I'm not sure who that team is. We'll find out who it is, who's going to pull ahead and kind of capture the West by week 7 or 8. We'll be like, okay, I don't see them dropping out lower than second now. So if I had to figure out why someone's going to pick an 8-win season for Calgary, it's going to be something along those lines.
I think that BC seems to be the front runner to run away with the West, but their secondary just screams like not so fast. I mean, I don't know what it is. Like, yeah, they're bringing back Gary Peters. They got TJ Lee. I just think that Gary Peters really is starting to show the down year. It could be an anomaly there. It could be, just a one-off. But at his age, that those you don't come back often after a down year at his age. But I mean, if you ask me, predict. I think BC seems to be the consensus number one team in the West by virtue of their offense, right? And they lost Aberhart, they lost Broxton, but I think they might have the weapons just to counter that. I think so. And then they added to that defense last year, specifically to their front seven: Darnell Sankey, Casey Sales. They and I'm really looking forward to the tandem of Levi Bell and Matthew Betts to see what they were able to do, and Jonah Tavai, right? I mean, I'm looking forward to that. That front seven is going to be super fun to watch, but they better be giving her every snap, because if you don't, and you're giving a quarterback that much time, that secondary is going to get like just absolutely surgically cut. I'm trying to think of a more intellectual word for that, but I wasn't able to come up with someone. Last game of the week.
Up with intelligent word.
Yeah, I couldn't come up with one. Last game of the week is the Edmonton Elks are in Ottawa. Ottawa is favored by 2.5 points, and the over-under there is 51.5. Where do you got that one going?
Well, week one has to have a WTF game. Like, this is, and I don't see if either the Alouettes or the Ticats won that game, I wouldn't be like, did not see that coming. If the Bombers beat the Stampeders, I would probably be like, ugh. I didn't think the Bombers had it in it, but I'm not surprised. This one, Ottawa, in Ottawa, without what I think is the better football team. This is the one that if the Elks win, I would be like, how the hell did that? Like, where the hell did these Elks come from? Because they have no reason to make you feel like they're world beaters right now, and I don't know if they have done too much. So this is the game where it feels like it's the holy crap. Did not see that come, especially with Ottawa, 2.5 point favorite, I think. High scoring game, though. I don't think it's going to quite peak at the numbers they gave, but this is going to be, in my book, this will be like a 38-10 Edmonton Elks win, and people will be like, damn, where the hell did that go? Because week one needs one. Like, it has to. There has to be a week one game, and I just don't think if the other four teams, any of them win, no one's going to be like, oh my God, that's ridiculous. Like, can you believe the Bombers destroyed the Stamp? Nobody's going to say that. They're going to be like, oh, well, like, classic Vernon Adams, get something happen or whatever. But I think if the Elks came out and just pounded the Red Blacks 38-10, people were like, holy crap. I not think the Elks have that, especially against a team that I think who went all in like Ottawa did, looked like the stronger club. So that's where I'm going to take that one. That is the WTF game for week one.
Yeah, and I could go. See this game. Yeah, I mean, people are. You might think that people are going to be like, completely flabbergasted if Edmonton wins. I feel like both these teams went all in on free agents. Like, there is such a huge roster turnover that there are all like an Avengers Endgame or whatever. Doctor Strange. He could see 1,472,000 endings.
Yeah.
And not one of them would be surprising to me. Like, you've got, like, Ottawa last year, I told them you had to go and get rid of Bobby Dice. Go get a proven coach, and they did that. Go get a formidable quarterbacking tandem. We can argue about Drew Brown and Jake Mayer. Go out and upgrade your receiving court. Go out and upgrade your offensive line. And I think they did that. So if you said that Ottawa's first game is going to be a blowout, I wouldn't be shocked. But at the same time, you have that much of a roster turnover. It takes some time to gel. So it wouldn't actually surprise me if they got blown out in week 1. Whereas Edmonton, Cody Fajardo now starting. He's got Justin Rankin. I'm a phenomenal player. I love that guy. Wouldn't surprise me to see him go off and see Edmonton run away with it very early. Or it could be, just a tight game where winner has the ball last and kicks a 55-yard field goal, right? I mean, that. There's also many endings with that one. In this case, I am going to go to the home team. In this case, I don't think Ottawa made too much of I shouldn't say. They made too much of a turnover for me to be convinced that Ottawa is the better team. But at the same time, I think they'd get the benefit of the home field turf or home field advantage over Edmonton. Both teams have a severe roster turnover, and I think Ottawa's just going to have the benefit of the advantage of the home field. And I think Ottawa does win this one 30-25 over
and
the
in
Edmonton.
An extra twist of hilarious fate, Ottawa wins the turnover battle. They get like
I can see
turnovers.
That. That'll wrap it up for week 1. You know what I'm looking forward to next week? The first magnificent bastard of 2026. You might have to.
We'll see.
CFPN is running its annual fantasy podcast, fantasy pool through Game Zone. I don't know if we have the schedule that was released. We could, but I might not pay attention to it. But I'm looking forward to that right now, and we'll talk more about that. Proceeds go to the CFL Fans Fight Cancer. And as always, if you want to donate and you just want to get physical, go play a round of golf. Of course, go to the CFL Fans Fight Cancer website. Click on the link involving the Stadnick Invitational Golf Tournament /thingy. I always just like to add the thingy part of it because it's just, because I'm adolescent sometimes. And then, just follow the instructions through there. We had, if you're new to the show, we had Joe Balanetsky on the show to tell you how to register. Just go through their website as well. Before we get to your final thoughts, I'll get my final thoughts. BC Lions released their new, I believe it's their away jersey.
Oh, yeah.
I tell you what, I felt like I was in the minority. I loved their fog gray jerseys that they've had for the last 3 years. I loved them. Not too clean, but I loved them. It is nostalgic for me. They came out with, what was it, the Frost Pacific? Is that what they're calling it?
Yeah, something like that.
Wow. No, I don't want to shoot it. I'm shooting. Where is it? Chef's Kiss. Whoever created that design, you, sir, deserve a freaking raise. Or ma'am.
They
Whoever.
should get the first magnificent bastard of 2026.
Yeah.
Because the helmet is solid too.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Honestly, as much as I love the fog, I still remain that the Bombers home jersey tops in the league until they came out with that jersey.
Yeah.
Frick
It's
yeah.
still not the new Stampeders red jersey, but it's pretty darn close.
Let's not go there. let's not go there.
Solid second behind the Stamps new jersey.
Before we go, any final thoughts?
No, I felt like I had one, and then you brought up those jerseys, and I got completely sidetracked because they were so fantastic. They are. They're absolutely fantastic. Good for the BC Lions.
Yeah, good. If you have anything that you want to share, your thoughts, give them our way. We are available through social media at Rouge Radio, myself at Rouge Daltz, Tony at Tony Rouge, and of course you can send us some email at thenewrouge@gmail.com. And of course, like and subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, as well as any social media platforms or any podcast applications. And of course, we are available, or most notably, I am available through the TikTok at Rouge Radio Pod. For Tony, I'm Daltz. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening. Find more great shows like this at CF Pod Network on Twitter.